Listen. Listen real hard. Listen real close. Can you hear that? Wait, we got to wait for the music to die down here in a second. But if you listen real close, you can hear the sound of an asteroid just about to hit us! Well, besides that, welcome in to the Wednesday edition of Supernatural News. Right here on the Best in Paranormal Programming. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. And on the Supernatural News Wednesday, we need to bring in a co-host. We bring in the co-host with the most, the BCB, the Big Cuddly Bear. We call him the Bruiser. Of course, I'm the Cruiser. Over there's a Bruiser. Beer City Bruiser. How you doing, Bruiser?
I don't know. If you said we're going to get hit by something and you're looking around, like, I am. Something's coming.
Looking to see if my roof is still intact, if the chipmunks are safe. And if that gosh darn asteroid that's supposed to have a near miss with us today is actually hit yet or not. Yeah. If you're listening to this podcast, chances are it's gone past already.
Thank God.
It seems like every other week we're either going to get hit by an asteroid, you can see the northern lights, or something catastrophic is going to happen.
Oh, yeah. That's just how it is today.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal is, but people have a negative Nelly attitude.
Well, yeah, too many people do. Like, they should just sit back and enjoy life. Life's good, because someday we might be hit by an asteroid.
That's true. Or you might see the northern lights and burn your retinas out. Oh, wait, no, that's a eclipse. I get the two mixed up sometimes. On today's show, Bruiser, boy, do we have some interesting stuff for you. We got ghosts. We got Loch Ness. Okay. We've got, what else we got today? Oh, a house that was abandoned with a bunch of creepy dolls inside, along with some other things.
Ooh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, we got that coming up today. Chills. Also, I got to thank our listeners. Boy, did our listeners come through this week.
Yeah, we got some Parashare.
We got Parashare stories. We have an audio Parashare story. We have one that was emailed to us. One of our listeners found the creepiest AI legend/torture device that could be reality ever. It's called the Basilisk, and I want to thank Mike out there. Mike, I believe it's Mike Moore. I know it's Mike at least, but Mike sent in something that I know Wikipedia isn't the absolute truth on everything, right, but he sent in a Wikipedia article about the Basilisk. We'll talk to you about what exactly this thing is, and the scariest thing ever, an AI torture device, Bruiser.
Why we gotta get creepier and creepier and creepier every time with AI?
Because if this is what our listeners want, then by God, we're going to give it to them. So we'll talk about the Basilisk. We have one other AI story today that's absolutely going to frighten you. Another form of AI was started up, and the first thing it did is it activated satellites and went looking for our enemies.
Oh, so it's trying to do a whole war game situation with us, huh?
That's right. Do you want to play a game, Bruiser? Also, another one of our listeners, Josh Kroom, who is up here in the Twin Cities, or at least drives into the Twin Cities, said, "Hey, Tim, if you think that China thing on the Canadian border is scary, boy, have I got something for you." We'll talk about that as well.
Oh, so we have a creepy episode today.
We're going to call it the Gloom and Doom edition. I think.
I'm down with that.
Maybe we'll call it Gloom and Doom, Destruction and Despair. How do you like that?
We got to start first with duck, because the asteroid might hit us.
Hey, you duck. Gloom and Doom, Destruction and Despair edition.
There it is.
I like that. If that doesn't get you listening, I don't know what will.
Oh, first of all, you got to go, hey, me? Duck? Okay.
Hey, me?
Now,
duck?
What now?
I love duck, especially under glass at the Chinese restaurant.
Ooh, duck is delicious.
It is. It's pretty darn good, I'll tell you that. And then at the end of the program, speaking of delicious animals, Einstein had a theory about him.
Did he?
You'll be surprised what it is. We'll tell you about that. That's how we'll end the show today. We'll try to end it on a little bit of an up note. But first, Duck Bruiser. An asteroid. I should ask how you're doing first before we jump in. Just real quick, are you okay? Everything all right?
I'm good. The roof's still here.
All right.
Cat's pawing at my back. Dogs are good. Yeah, no asteroid.
Okay, no asteroid? All right.
No asteroid.
All right. Well, in the meantime, if you see a big shadow coming in, duck. An asteroid the size of 3 football fields could scrape past the Earth today in a close call.
Oh, jeez.
Wait,
okay, no, I can't wait to hear the mileage on this, because whenever they say that, it's always like 4 million miles away.
Well, no. I don't think it's, well, okay. Not 3 million miles, but I'll tell you in a second here. Asteroid 2006 HV5, which has been classified as a potentially hazardous asteroid. That's hard to say. Potentially hazardous asteroid by NASA will pass by the Earth at a distance of, it's not 3 million miles.
Okay.
It's 1.5 million miles today. So 1.5 million miles. That's still pretty darn close.
That's still close. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's close.
That's shaving a haircut 2 bits close. That's what it is.
We'll feel the breeze.
Yes, we'll get an asteroid breeze right up our asteroid, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Asteroid 2006 HV5, which has been classified as potentially hazardous asteroid by NASA. They call it a PHA or a FA, as in FA, that got close to me, is due to pass worryingly close to the Earth today. The space rock, which is estimated to be around 1,000 feet in diameter, will pass by the Earth at a distance of 1.5 million miles, or 6.3 times the distance from the Earth to the Moon, traveling at some 38,000 miles an hour.
Oh, it's going a little fast.
That's a fastball, if I've ever heard of one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't see Mr. Lopez over at the Twins throwing anything that fast. That's for sure. While that's a comfortable margin in astronomical terms, it is still classified a close call. But that's plenty of breathing room, according to Dr. Susanna Kohler from the American Astronomical Society. NASA issues chilling asteroid warnings that make the end of the world 3 times more likely. Yikes.
That's scary.
It is. So go ahead and give noogies to your loved one and kiss random strangers if you want to. Today would be the day to do it. I'm just saying. She added that 2006 HV5 is listed as having a rarity of 2 in NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies database. That means on average, an asteroid of this size or larger will only come this close to Earth once a year.
Once a year, okay.
You mean to tell me that once a year we're in danger of being screwed and tattooed?
Exactly. That's what I'm getting from it.
Boy, is life fragile. I didn't realize it was that fragile.
I didn't know we could get hit once a year.
I mean, once a year, we're coming this close to getting wiped off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
Man, I would make more rash decisions if I knew that.
If you knew this when you were, what, like 20? You'd be like,
right.
Hey.
It's a good thing that Punch added me to all my social medias now. We're friends on social media, the Jewel Thief.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. So you're gonna become part of his crew?
I think I'm going to become a Jewel Thief now. I think I'm going to go rob some banks.
And then if you get caught, your defense is just going to be, hey, we can get hit by an asteroid a year from now.
Once a year, we come dangerously close to being hit by an asteroid. Would you rather take the chance of being a multimillionaire and steal jewels, or would you rather sit there and live a mundane life and just get wiped off the face of the planet one day?
That's terrifying to think of.
Isn't it?
Yes.
And it's time to start hitting on supermodels. Sorry, ladies. I got to do it. They're not going to take a fat, bald, weird-looking guy like me, but hey, it's time to start trying.
This news is life-changing for you.
It is. I am bold as F right now. Let me tell you.
Look at you. You're losing some weight. Yep. You're feeling better. Sharklefoot's getting better.
Well, I don't know about that. I had a little incident on Monday.
Okay, well.
I got a little tiny ulceration, so I got a cast on right now, but it's no big deal. I'm going into surgery if I have a checkup with the cardiologist tomorrow.
Yes.
If he clears me, if he says the heart is healed, then I'm probably going to go have the foot plane down again. I know it gave me sepsis last time and I damn near died, but I could get hit by an asteroid. Now's the time to do it again. Do the surgery again. Sure, I could get killed by sepsis again or nearly die from sepsis again, but I could get hit by an asteroid this year. We might get wiped out today.
Well, no, this year's it passes. Remember, this is the one that passes.
Well,
we have a whole year now.
Maybe we still have part of the day yet here at Bruiser as we're recording this. right? So balls to the wall, my friend. We might, if we escape today, we may only have another year to live.
They need to create an app where we can watch this asteroid, see how close it is to us. So if we need to panic or not.
That's true. You're right. You got a point there. You got a point there, buddy. So here's what we're going to do. I mean, we're going to live balls to the wall. So supermodels, bring it on. I'm going to go get the foot fixed.
There you go.
I'm going to try to live through a second bout of sepsis if that happens.
Because it's an asteroid.
That's right. So I'm gonna rob some jewels, I guess. I'm gonna get some jewels on my side. I'm gonna become a multimillionaire. We're still gonna do the show, I guess, because we got to keep people informed if we're gonna get hit by another asteroid.
Well, yeah, we need alibis.
Yeah, and we need an outlet for all this crazy energy we have. And after that, you know what? I'm even gonna, if I get really, really rich, I'm just gonna share the wealth with all our listeners.
There you go. We can have a big contest.
Well, first, I'm sharing it with you, buddy. That's the
thing. Thank you.
You and I are going to get insanely rich, and then we're going to take and we're just going to give random amounts of money away to our listeners because we love them.
Yeah, we'll make it rain on our listeners.
That's right. Make it rain on the listeners. So I would think you guys would be behind this deal as well.
Because once a year we can get hit by an asteroid.
Right, we can get hit by an asteroid. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to bling out the chippers.
Oh yeah, no, that I'm behind.
I'm going to make little gold necklaces, little Cuban link necklaces for them with little amulets on the Yeah.
You gotta get one a leather jacket and fedora.
Oh yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, like Chip and Dale and Rescue Rangers. Yeah, and I'm going to get them little rings. I know they only have little paws, but I'm going to make a little tiny solid rings. Maybe a three paw ring for the like a 3-finger ring.
Yeah,
with their names on it.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Okay. Yeah, they're gonna be gangsta. Yeah, gangsta chippers.
You should build them condos too.
I think they build their own stuff.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, I would suggest multi-levels, and we'll put little furniture in for them.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
A vacation spot for them, if you will.
I got big plans in the next year. If we live through today. That's all I'm saying. Big plans. So it turns out that NASA, of course, they're sounding the alarm. And it's scary, I know, kids. NASA's issuing a chilling asteroid warning that makes the end of the world 3 times more likely. They added that 2006 HV5 is listed as having a rarity of 2, as I said, in NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies database. That means on average, an asteroid of this size or larger will only come to this close to Earth once a year. Dr. Kohler told Fox News that even though the Eiffel Tower-sized object will...
This is getting worse and worse the more you read.
So it's the size of the Eiffel Tower, and it's going to slam into us. Will be comparatively close to Earth. You'll still need special equipment to see it. I got your special equipment right here, lady.
And if it hit us, we can get more.
That's right.
But actually, no, the way we're living right now, we can get more special equipment put on us.
That's right. Asteroids don't emit their own visible light, so we primarily observe them via sunlight that they reflect. Oh, great. So we're going to see a shadow, just a bigger shadow coming at us. At its closest approach, 2006 HV5, doesn't that sound like a venereal disease?
Yeah, that they discovered in 2006.
Yeah, 2006 HV5 will still only be bright enough to spot with larger telescopes. It sounds like we should have a drug for that. And we're going to watch the commercial during dinner, and you're going to see weird-looking people kissing each other on TV, and you'll be like, do I really need to watch that while I'm eating my dinner?
Oh, yeah, that's when they always play them.
Yeah, I know. She went on to reassure the public that NASA has a good idea of where the asteroid is and where it will be to come with the books for 2006 HV5. Spanning the last 17 years, astronomers are able to calculate its orbit and thus its past, present, and future locations very precisely, she said. 2006 HV5 is one of over 31,000 near-Earth objects that have been identified so far, with many more believed to be awaiting discovery out in the darkness of space. In other words, here's your head, tuck it down, and kiss your ass goodbye. Any asteroid that travels within 30 million miles of Earth's orbit is classified as a NEO, and I'm not talking about the guy from The Matrix, and NASA classes them as potentially hazardous objects if they come within 4.6 million miles of Earth's orbit and having a diameter greater than 460 feet. So far, around 2,300 asteroids, Bruiser, have been added to the potentially hazardous list. That's
2,300, huh?
2,300 shots at us.
Yeah.
And while none of them spell imminent danger, there's always a risk that their current orbits could be perturbed, ending them on a collision course with our planet. So, yeah, good night. Sleep tight.
Yeah. See ya.
Don't let the asteroids bite you in the ass. Just saying. By the way, we had a little meeting up there on Capitol Hill this past week. We're not going to go deep into it because all we got was, oh, by the way, those UFOs you're seeing, they're not aliens. They're more than likely tech from another country.
Yeah, I saw that on the news.
Yeah.
They were. So, I watched it because I was curious.
I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so.
Yeah.
I've been maintaining for years that that's what they're going to tell you, or that's what I think. But you just had, I believe, is it Sean McDonough is the name of the guy who was on Capitol Hill this past week?
I believe it was him, yeah.
Yeah, he basically sat up in front of Arrow in Congress and said, oh, yeah, by the way, don't worry about it. The reason that all these videos have been deemed top secret is because if it's not our tech you're looking at it, you're either looking at China or Russia's. So, yeah, and they claim now that there is a drone that China's built that can go, is it just a little under the speed of light or sound or, yeah. So they say there's a drone that can actually do a lot of what we believe alien technology is doing. So they're basically poo-pooing anything that you're seeing as being alien technology now.
Okay.
Yeah. So good luck with that. But in the meantime, a U.S.
Are they still going to keep the committee?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still taking everybody's submissions and everything.
Yeah.
In the meantime, a U.S. Navy fighter pilot says he saw UFOs pretty much daily while on duty.
That would be terrifying.
What kills me, and we talk about it a little bit with Darcy Weir on last week's program about UFOs and what exactly these different government employees have seen. And I think we even talk a little bit about it with Steve Sayer on tomorrow's program, is that you have this denial by government officials to go and talk to anybody who's been in the space program, to anybody who's been in the Navy, in the Army, in the Air Force, to bring them in deliberately and say, hey, you've had a direct experience. Tell me what you've seen. Mm-hmm. They sit there, they look at videos and go, oh, no, it couldn't be that. And they automatically chalk it up to somebody else's technology, rather than sitting with the people who've had the actual experience, who are qualified, down-to-earth people, and say, what was it you saw? And it's maddening. Lieutenant Ryan Graves spoke out about the presence of UFOs in U.S. airspace and said he'd encountered something pretty much every time he set off with his squadron, the Red Rippers.
Really?
Yeah. A former U.S. Navy fighter pilot has spoken out on UFOs and said he saw them pretty much daily while he was out on duty. Lieutenant Ryan Graves spoke out and shared his experiences with Squadron VFA-11, known as the Red Rippers, saying that whenever they went up in the air, they'd come into contact with something unexpected. He said there would be flashing lights, strange crafts, and other things he couldn't explain. And in the end, they were chalked up as UAP, another name for UFOs. Now, interestingly enough, in this meeting this last week with Arrow, they separated the meaning of UFO and UAP.
Why'd they do that?
To generate the difference between man-made craft and alien craft.
Gotcha. Okay, so which is which?
I'm trying to remember. I think UFO is supposed to be the alien. It's supposed to be the alien meaning. UAP is supposed to be the
technology.
Yeah, the technology. The
form
Earth,
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I don't quote me on it, but I think that was stated in the meeting. Ryan said such occurrences happen pretty much daily after his first experience. He was on a training mission off the coast of Virginia. Ryan said it was almost as if the sun was shining a flashlight on the UAPs. We were trying to figure out what the heck these things were. We were seeing them pretty much daily. We would go out there and they would be out there in the morning. They would be out there in the evening as well. These things were pretty much always out there. That would range from 2 to 3 of them to 6 to 7. Ryan was a Super Hornet pilot, and now he's speaking out as he wants to encourage others to share their sightings. Meanwhile, one UFO spotter believes he has made an important discovery on the red planet in video footage released by NASA. It says it could be proof of alien life. Scott Waring runs the blog UFO Sightings Daily, where he shines light on all the weird and wonderful news he can find, and video clips from the red planet have been a treasure trove for him in the past. Now Scott believes he has found something in an image from we talked about this last week, the Mars Perseverance rover video feed, where he thinks a 10-meter disc crashed into the surface of the planet. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, it's that picture you showed me.
Yep.
Going back to the Navy pilot, wouldn't there be some sort of recordings, maybe not video, but air traffic controllings of them? Because they have to radio when they see stuff like that, and that's all recorded, isn't it?
I think you're thinking more commercial. He could talk to his superiors about it over the radio and say he's spotted something.
Yeah.
I don't know that they have a flight recorder, of course, inside the cockpit, but sometimes those guys choose not to. Interestingly enough, when we were talking about the Apollo missions with Darcy Weir, he was saying that NASA had told them or had scripts for them on the Apollo missions, on the later Apollo missions especially, that they were told to keep the chatter down between Mission Control and Apollo, but they did let it slip a few times. There are recordings where they had doublespeak or they had code names for when they ran into UFO. So they would say, oh, we got a fire up here. Or they would say something that would indicate that they had run into a strange presence. In fact, I think it was, I'm trying to remember which astronaut it was. It wasn't Buzz Aldrin, but one of the astronauts claimed that a craft had followed them onto the landing onto the moon. So
that's the one he could see off in the atmosphere, right?
Yes,
or on like it looked like on the edge of the planet. Yeah.
Yep. So, and they cover that as well in the movie in Secret Space UFOs, Apollo 1 through 11, which we have a link in the description of that program if you listened to that program last Thursday. So yeah, interesting stuff, but I think they keep communications tighter when it's the armed services or whether it's NASA or whoever it is when it comes to dealing with UAP or UFOs. Because you don't want to look kind of half-cocked or crazy when you're reporting something like that. What they do is they first address it and say, do you, to an air traffic controller or whoever it is that you're talking to, or base or whoever it is you're talking to, or mission control, you ask them, do you have anything on your radar in my vicinity? Because you want to verify that it's not another aircraft. If they say no, then you start looking for different anomalies. And then you report back to them and say, well, I see this. Then they try to talk you off the ledge as to whether you're seeing a UFO or not.
Okay.
And then that's when you engage your recorders and try to pick it up and tell them exactly what it is that you're seeing. Moving on, there's a blinding flash over Kyiv that was spotted last week, although Ukraine's space agency says it was probably a meteor.
Really?
Yeah, although it was a strange blinding flash, a mysterious flash which lit up the skies over Ukraine's capital last Wednesday night generated a lot of speculation. Officials in Kyiv initially suspected it was a NASA satellite falling to Earth, but the U.S. Space Agency told the BBC that it was still in orbit.
Okay. So not a satellite.
Yep. Ukrainian space officials said later the flash would probably come from a meteor entering the atmosphere. The Air Force was confident it was not a Russian air attack, an event all too familiar since the invasion last year. The bright glow was observed in the sky over the capital around 10 o'clock local time. An air raid alert was activated, but air defense was not in operation. The head of Kyiv's military administration, Serhiy Popko, said on Telegram, "My Popko suggested it was caused by a NASA space satellite falling to Earth," referring to a retired 300-kilogram spacecraft that the space agency announced was set to re-enter the atmosphere on Wednesday. The RESSI satellite, RHESSI, used to observe solar flares, was launched into low Earth orbit in 2002 and was decommissioned in 2018, according to NASA. But Rob Margetta, from NASA's Office of Communications told the BBC that the satellite was still in orbit at the time the flash was observed and was due to re-enter Earth's atmosphere during the night. Satellite tracking website SatFlare indicated that Nessie was nowhere near Ukraine at the time. Ukrainian social media has been awash with theories and memes about what the flash could have been, with the popular theme being that it was caused by aliens. Of course, it's always aliens.
It's always aliens.
Yeah.
We can't explain it. What is it? An alien?
That's right. But Air Force spokesman Yuri, I believe it's Inat, told Ukrainian TV that the flash had also been seen over neighboring Belarus to the north, and Ukraine's space agency said it was probably related to a cosmic body entering the dense layers of the atmosphere. Kyiv officials said it was up to experts to establish what it was, but what was important was the city's security. So there you go. Let's move on. Speaking of, we talked a little bit about the red planet earlier, and kind of funny, but, you know, we like to imagine that maybe that Mars rover that's up there might have made a friend or two while it's up there.
Kind of like Wall-E.
Yeah.
Falling in love with the other robot. Yeah.
You got it, Bruiser. Like Wall-E, falling in love, you know. We don't want him to be lonely up there. Maybe it's the human being in us. You know, we like him. We like to see him make friends and have a pal, not be so cold and desolate, right?
And do some robot things and just hang out like robots.
Yeah, exactly.
Or rovers. We'll use a proper term, rovers.
Rovers, right. And when you say rover, don't you like to think that maybe it's a little doggy?
Yes.
Yeah.
And all doggies should be happy.
That's right. We assign a little personality to it. Well, it turns out the Mars rover, looks a little lonely in new photos after losing its only friend, which was a pet rock.
Aww.
Oh, I know.
Poor little guy.
I know. The Martian stone has been hitching a ride on Perseverance for more than half of its time on the red planet, but NASA boffins, it says here, noticed the absence of the rock in recent beam back images. This is so sad. I know. Grab your tissue here. It's going to get a little rough.
This poor little guy, his friend. And we don't know what happened.
Well, we do. Don't say that.
Okay.
Here we go. A Mars rover has sadly lost its pet rock. The Martian stone has been hitching a ride on Perseverance for more than half of its time on the red planet. You could say they were stuck together. I won't hit the rim shot, mainly because I don't have it programmed in. It was spotted by NASA boffins last year, who called it an unexpected traveling companion. However, Mars fans have noticed the absence of the rock in recent beamback images. A bittersweet image taken on April 18th shows the small passenger missing from the wheel. Dr. Karavaka, a Martian geologist, commented online, "Farewell, rock friend." Aw.
Did you have a pet rock when you were a kid?
No. I had
All my friends had them, and I told my dad that I wanted one. Mm-hmm. And he's like, all right, whatever, I'll get you one. What he did is he went out in the yard, picked up a rock, wrote pet on it, and said that was my pet rock. Uh-huh. Well, one day all my buddies are over, and we decided that we're going to throw our pet rocks at each other.
Oh, no.
Split one of my best friends wide open.
Oh my God.
Hospital visit, ER, all that. I get home, next thing I hear is my mom yelling at my dad, "Just spend the money next time. It'll save us a hospital trip."
Way to go, Papa Bruiser. Well, you know what? In the end, though, he gave you the most badass pet rock ever.
He did. Yeah. So I feel for this rover.
I do too. Because he did pick up an organic, generic pet rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of connected in that way, except I don't think he split open his friend.
No, well, he might have. He might have split open an alien head and ran.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Dr. Karavaka went on to say, "We found out in the latest HazCam we have lost our pet rock in the front wheel of NASA's Perseverance."
Oh, he ran him over.
Yeah, it spent 427 sols with us, more than an Earth year, and traveled about 10 kilometers since Sol 341. "Farewell, rock friend, you will be missed," Dr. Karavaka said. Last June, NASA noted in early February a rock found its way into the rover's front left wheel, and since hitching a ride, it has transported more than 5.3 miles.
That needs to be a T-shirt of the rover with the rock in his wheel, and it just says "best friends" above it.
Do you smell what the Perseverance is cooking? That's what I say. Yeah. This rock isn't doing any damage to the wheel, but throughout its no doubt bumpy journey, it has clung on and made periodic appearances in our left has-cam images. Boy, they really have nothing to do at NASA.
No.
At the time, the space agency pondered where the rock might end its journey, explaining it's possible that the rock may fall out at some point along our future ascent off the crater rim. If it does, it will land amongst rocks that we expect to be very different from itself. Do you think at NASA they had like some sort of big betting pool about whether the rock would find a good home?
You know they did. You know there's a guy going around, hey, 50-1, it's on a Wednesday, and it stops in granite instead of moon rock.
Yeah, and they're taking numbers, and they've got, somebody there probably won like $2,000. You know it got up there.
Yeah. And is it really a good home? It's a completely different rock atmosphere.
That's right.
I worry about rock.
I know, yeah. I think Rock might have been transported to an area totally foreign from what he's used to.
And what if Rock didn't want to go? It was an accident that Rock ended up in the wheel. Like, Rock was running away because he just did a jewel heist.
And what if
he decided to hide in Rover, and now Rover took him 5.3 miles away.
That's right. And what if Rock right now is being sacrificed by some headhunters, like an old Gilligan's Island episode?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where's the professor now?
Exactly. As one of our team members quipped this week, we might confuse a future Mars geologist who finds it out of place. Oh God! Now they're just stretching. They're stretching.
I really hope that guy knows it's from that and not like zoom in on and go, an alien moved this rock from here to here.
Exactly, 5.3 miles. They added, so if you're a Martian geologist from the future reading this, God, maybe a Martian graduate student tasked with mapping the historical site of Jezero Crater, take heed. If you found a rock that looks out of place, you might just be looking at the former pet rock of Perseverance. The Pet Rock of Perseverance sounds like an album title from Rush.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Or Zeppelin.
Or Zeppelin, yeah. That does sound like a Zeppelin reunion album. Song. Yeah. Let's move on, shall we? A UFO hunter spots an orb, same thing, sheltering from a storm or home security footage. So basically, big storm going on.
Yeah.
Pounding storm going on, and an orb took shelter. The reason I buried
it's a horrible storm.
That's one bug that really needed to get away. A homeowner was shocked when they checked their CCTV footage and saw a clip of an orb using their house to hide from a snowstorm. Oh, it was a snowstorm.
Oh, snowstorms. It got cold.
Yeah, there's a cold bug who some think it could be proof of alien life. Oh, they're going the alien.
Oh, they're going aliens, not ghosts, huh?
Yeah, aliens.
You know, that alien that's called Gnat?
Yes,
or
an alien gnat. Yeah, or cricket. A UFO hunter was shocked when they checked footage from their home security camera and saw what they believed to be an orb hiding from a storm by their house. Leslie Meadows spotted the floating object in the video clip, and it appears to hover there for a while, moving up and down as the weather rages. You call the bug.
Yep.
You make the call here, Bruiser. You say gnat?
I say... Well, it's snowing, so it's got to be wintertime.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm going with like a gnat or a fruit fly or something.
I'll try to...
They're alive then, right? Yeah.
I think so. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to copy this, and I'm going to send it over to you briefly, and you take a look at it as I'm reading here, because I want you to watch the video as I read here, and you tell me, Bruiser, what type of bug, after watching the video, what type of bug you think this is.
Okay.
You're pretty good at this game. We've played this game off air before.
Yeah, we do.
And by the way,
send each other this stuff all the time.
By the way, folks, when you send us something off air, Bruiser and I do go through it. You know, like you send us evidence and say, I think we might have caught something. So I just sent it to you right now, Bruiser.
Yep, I just got it.
So what I'll do is sometimes I'll weigh in and say, well, I think it might be this. And then when I really want to know, I go get Bruiser, and Bruiser goes, oh, nope. And he answers it in about 2.3 seconds. He's really good at this game. And he did actually accurately recently with a case. He got it in about 2 seconds. He took a look and went, nope, this is what it is. And sure as shit, I looked at it again, and that's what it was. It was a bug. Okay, so as we go on with the story, the clip was shared on the page UFO Sightings Daily by Scott Waring. Of course it was. A seasoned UFO hunter who pores over NASA footage in search of alien life. He said the clip was, oh God, you know it's not now. He said the clip was absolute proof of alien life.
Not,
You ready to
me,
shoot
it
it
looks
down?
like a beetle.
A beetle?
It's round like that, and the way it flutters. We have beetles that come up by our house, and we have the lights on at night.
A beetle, or was it a, what do you call it? We have them up here in Minnesota. They come out in the summertime. I can't think of the name. It's a bigger bug, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and with the hard shell, and they sit on your they sit on your.
Oh, you're talking about shield bugs. They look like a shield.
Well, not a shield bug. They're brown. They're God, the name escapes me. I'll come up with it later, I'm sure.
But yeah, that's what it looks like to me. It's one of those type of bugs.
Yeah, and they're irritating as hell because they fly up and they almost look like a flying roach in Pennsylvania. But
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And those things can sit still too.
Yeah.
Because they'll sit right in front of your face.
Yeah. He said the clip was absolute proof of alien life. Oh, Scott. Scott. And described it as hovering outside the house, probably watching Leslie as it sheltered from the storm. Scott said, now door cams and cameras in general are an important tool for catching alien phenomena. And this video is absolute proof of that. No, Scott, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, Scott, no. Bug buddy. An eyewitness caught a bright glowing orbs, it says here, during a snowstorm last week, and the orb seems to be taking a rest under the roof of the front porch. It's a bug.
It's a bug.
It's also hovering near the front window of the house, looking in, watching the activities inside the home. Bugs do that. They go on the window. Scott, they go on the window.
They're looking away to get to the light inside the house.
Yeah, they do that. Scott goes on to say, this is 100% proof that aliens are watching us like it or not. I'm done with this story.
I wish X-Files was still around.
Yeah.
So they could do an episode of this where they just show up and go, it's a bug, you idiot.
And then, it's a bug, stupid. Let's move on. The UK's first UFO tour is set to focus on the site of Britain's Roswell. Guaranteed you're going to see a bug, and they'll point out that it's a bug. They'll be able to tell the difference. UFO hunter Gary Heseltine will be hosting tours of Rendlesham Forest, the site of the UK's most famous UFO incident. Situated deep in the Suffolk countryside, the forest, which has become synonymous with the UFO phenomena in the UK, will soon be hosting guided tours headed up by veteran UFO researcher Gary Heseltine, who has also written a book on the subject titled Non-Human, the Rendlesham Forest Incidents, 42 Years of Denial. And that just ain't a river in Egypt. I don't have my river.
So is Roswell going to take notice of this and be like, oh, look, we can make some money here?
Maybe.
Area 51 be like, yeah, let's do this.
Well, I think they might have already. I'm not sure. The Rendlesham Forest incident has been often referred to as Britain's Roswell, and in terms of its significance in UFO history, the comparison is well made, he wrote. However, I have to say that in many aspects, the RFI, as it has become known, is very, very different in certain key areas. After almost 14 years of public research into the RFI, I can think of no other case that has been subject of so much disinformation and damaging internal witness political infighting. The incident itself began on December 26, 1980, when U.S. servicemen stationed at RAF Woodbridge witnessed an unknown object descending into the woods. Upon investigating, they encountered a glowing metallic object which seemed to move through the trees as they approached. When they returned the next day, they found 3 triangular impressions in the ground at the same spot. On December 28th, the object appeared a second time, Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt and a group of servicemen to venture out into the woods to investigate. What they saw that night would go on to haunt them for the rest of their lives. Our security team observed a light that looked like a large eye, red in color, moving through the trees, said Halt. After a few minutes, this object began dripping something that looked like molten metal. A short while later, it broke into smaller white-colored objects which flew away in all directions. Over the years, there's been a great deal of debate over what the object could have been, with theories ranging from an extraterrestrial spacecraft to a nearby lighthouse. Colonel Halt, however, has always remained adamant that what he had witnessed was no lighthouse. That's no moon, Bruiser. To this day, no definitive explanation for the incident has ever been found. But there's going to be tours, so maybe you'll see it again.
Come on out.
You never know. Come on out and get abducted. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I tell you what, at this point, we're going to take our break in the program. When we come back, boy, oh boy, have we got listener stuff galore. We've got a couple of Parashare stories to share with you. Listeners are also sharing stories they found in the media. We'll talk about the Basilisk. If you don't want to sleep tonight, tune on in and listen to that little deal about AI that tortures. Also, the Chinese have set up illegal police stations within the U.S., and one of them is right in your boy's backyard. Oh, I can't wait to go visit. That's coming up next on the Best in Paranormal Programming. It's a Supernatural News Wednesday with the Cruiser and the Bruiser. We'll have more in just a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Best in Paranormal Programming. This is Supernatural News Wednesday with the Cruiser and the Bruiser. Got a big hot rock setup coming up for you in the next hour. We got Van Halen, we've got the Boston, we've got the Police, we've got the Rolling Stones, and we've got China. Not talking about the wrestler. I'm talking about the whole goddamn continent, country, plateau, whatever. The Great Wall is coming for us, Bruiser.
The ones that keep sending us over birthday balloons?
Yes, those guys. Yes, they're sending over their latex balloons over the border. God, you know, I a few weeks back, I was talking about how, you know, we were talking about the spy balloon, and I said even a few weeks before that, you know, you guys don't have your eyes peeled if you're not reading these different reports about the fact that the Chinese have been sitting on our north and south borders. All across Canada, they have secret outposts. And this has been known for years.
Yeah, I remember when you told me that, I was like, what? And I looked it up. You're absolutely 100% right.
They have posts above Washington State, all the way from Washington State, all the way to British Columbia on the East Coast. They've got outposts all the way through there. And on the southern border, the Chinese are working with MS-13. And they're sitting on our southern border. And what they do is they send, and this may sound like some sort of weird political conspiracy. Trust me, I'm not sitting on one side of the political fence or the other. But what they're doing, and this is an actual thing, they are sending people to our border on the southern side to test our actual borders to see how weak we are there. Okay. So this is an actual Red Dawn type of scenario.
Yeah.
Where they're testing us to see how much we're paying attention. Yeah. Okay. Now
it's like that scene in Jurassic Park where the guy talks about the Velociraptor.
Yes. Yeah.
And he says that's a smart one. He goes, why? He goes, when the fences first went up, he had each of them run at places, or she had each of them run at places in the fence. Why? Looking for weak spots.
That's right. And that's exactly what they're doing, both on the north border and on the south border. So when they send over this little spy balloon and we get all freaked out, that's just a sentry. That's just, they sent that, I'm sure, as a distraction. It's some sort of distraction.
You think it was a, hey, look over here, and they're doing something over here.
Yep, yeah. And they were probably doing something on the East Coast while they were sending that over the West Coast.
Good old rope-a-dope.
Yep, the rope-a-dope. But you know what? They probably knew that. There's a reason why the Biden administration was very calm about it.
I bet you that's why they didn't shoot it down either right away, because they were still trying to figure out or knew about the West Coast.
Well, they made some very good points. And we went over this already, so I'm going to shorten this up a little bit. And that's this. One, you don't know completely what's in that payload. There's probably a few thousand pounds worth of payload. So you don't shoot it down over crowded cities or schools or anything like that where it can fall to the earth and damage buildings, property, people. So you don't do that.
Right.
So they were right to shoot it down over water. Okay. And two, you want to be able to recover the technology and keep it and then be able to go through it and see if there's anything you can recover, which they did. And they went through it and they know what exactly, was in that tech and what exactly they got. So it was smart to do it over water.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of senators, there are a lot of Congress people who don't know diddly squat about intelligence that got all up in arms. They got their tit in a ringer, their panties in a bunch, and all of a sudden they wanted us to shoot down everything that's coming over the border. Then all of a sudden they overreact that we're shooting everything that's coming over the border. Well, they're just doing whatever you want them to do so you can hold on to your jobs.
Yep. And
that's why we don't let Congress run the military.
Exactly.
They vote on stuff, but they don't run the military. We have people who actually know stuff about the military run the military. That brings us to a story which I got to thank Josh Kroom, who is here in Minnesota. Listen to the stuff with the Chinese spy balloon. Listen to the stuff about the Chinese being on the north and south border and said, hey, Tim, you think that's scary? Look at this. And he sends me this story. And it says, China may have up to 6 more illegal police stations in the U.S. after the FBI shut down the Manhattan outpost used to spy on and harass dissidents.
They're here. They're right here.
They're here and operating in the U.S.
Yeah.
They're on American soil.
I like how they say illegal police departments.
They are. They're illegal police departments. Now, here's the deal. After the FBI arrested 2 men in connection with a Chinese secret police station in New York, activists say there may be as many as 6 similar illegal outposts across the United States. One of them, folks, is right here in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
You're going to stop by, say hi?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm bringing takeout. We're going to have a picnic.
Yeah. Only,
Yeah.
every year an asteroid comes.
Yeah. Well, I'll direct it their way. In addition to the Manhattan outpost that was shut down on Monday, Chinese police operate another station elsewhere in New York City and one in Los Angeles, according to a New York Post report citing the advocacy group Safeguard Defenders. Okay. What is unclear whether those outposts are being used as clandestine police stations. Safeguard Defenders noted that Chinese security forces often use nonprofits and community groups as a front to spy on and harass dissidents overseas. China's foreign ministry has disputed the existence of such police stations, but has acknowledged what it says are volunteer-run sites in the U.S. and other countries to assist overseas Chinese nationals with tasks such as renewing driver's license.
So basically they're saying...
It's a Chinese DMV.
No, that's not a spy balloon. That's a weather balloon.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're saying what this is a Chinese DMV. Now, there's an actual picture of one right here, Bruiser. It's in the article.
Yeah. It looks like a restaurant from the outside, though.
It kind of does. I mean, it's got.
Like, it doesn't scream police station.
No, it's got some.
But it does stick out from the rest of the buildings around.
The reason being is the police station was run above a ramen store in Chinatown in Manhattan.
Okay, so that's why the rrestaurant looked. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it operates secretly within a front. Okay. Now, 61-year-old Lu Jianwang of the Bronx and 59-year-old Chen Jinping of Manhattan were both arrested at their addresses in New York. Prosecutors say the 2 men set up the office in Manhattan's Chinatown last year at the behest of the Fuzhou branch of the Ministry of Public Security, which is China's national police force.
Okay, so I wonder if they know where the other ones are, so we can get them all shut down.
Well, that's why you arrest them.
Yeah.
Then you put the screws to them.
Yeah.
Now, these guys are both U.S. citizens and have been charged with conspiring to act as agents for the Chinese government.
Oh, so they're not even from China. Like they're natural born citizens here.
I don't think so.
Well, not natural, but they're
naturalized.
Yes, that's what I was looking for.
Federal prosecutors said the arrests were part of a crackdown on China's targeting of dissidents, which Beijing denies. We will not tolerate the PRC, People's Republic of China, government, or any foreign government harassing or threatening U.S. persons, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre told reporters at a regular press briefing. China slammed the arrests as political manipulation and part of a false and biased smear campaign. Of course they did, because they don't want to be accused of operating on U.S. soil. China firmly opposes the U.S.'s side of the U.S. side's slandering, smearing. This is their quote now. Slandering, smearing, engaging in political manipulation, and maliciously concocting the so-called transitional repression narrative. This is what Foreign Ministry spokesman Wang Wenbin told reporters. We urge the U.S. to immediately reflect on itself, abandon Cold War thinking and ideological biases, immediately stop related erroneous practices, stop political manipulation, stop smear attacks against China. In other words, look the other way while we set up illegal police stations to govern our own dissidents in your country.
And hopefully we said, you know what? You first.
Yeah, exactly. U.S. and Western authorities have warned that China's government has increasingly exerted pressures to silence its critics abroad, often targeting people of Chinese origin through covert operations and attempts to stifle dissent and coerce them to return to China where they might face punishment. Human rights groups have also complained of threats to academic freedom and monitoring of Chinese students on international university campuses. Rick Waters is the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for China and Taiwan. He told the U.S. House of Representatives hearing separately that Washington was aware of China's transitional law enforcement within the borders of dozens of countries. So we're not the only one.
Yeah.
They're doing it in dozens of countries. Waters said the U.S. was working through public diplomacy and private diplomatic channels with partners who had found the same issue in their countries. We have been engaged in a pretty extensive effort to share what we know and to develop the tools and response options that are the most effective to this unique aspect of China's influence agenda, Waters said. Safeguard Defenders, a Europe-based human rights organization, published a report in September revealing the presence of dozens of Chinese police service stations, that's in quotes, in major cities around the world, including New York.
Wow. So they're here.
They're here, and they're operating.
Yep.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah. That's scary, too.
Very scary.
You know? And I get the diplomatic way of doing it because you don't want to start a war, but China likes pushing buttons lately, you know?
It's one thing, you know, the old spy game was one thing, okay?
Yeah.
But it's to operate on another country's soil to oppress people in a free country, whether they claim to be your citizen or not. If they're a U.S. citizen that originally had was a Chinese national, or even if they're over here on a work visa, you have no right.
Right.
You have no right to interfere with them once they're in the United States, because they're here in our country for a reason. Whether they're here studying, whether they're here working, even if you're here on a work visa, you have no right. They're
right.
off. They're off. They're out of bounds. They're off limits
until that visa expires.
That's right. You don't touch them. That's just all there is to it. All right, it's that time again, Bruiser. We don't have many of them today.
No, but the ones we have are terrifying.
They are terrifying. We're talking about your old friend AI right now. Artificial intelligence was given control of a satellite and it immediately began tracking Japanese and Indian military bases. You can't tell me this is good technology.
No.
You just can't.
Watch the movie War Games. That's what happens
Yeah.
when you target military bases.
What's scary about this is it was Chinese scientists that were working with AI,
Oh, no.
and it automatically went after the Japanese, and it automatically went after Indian military bases. Chinese scientists are worried about the idling of satellites used for remote sensing. Experts believe that the spacecraft often collect data that is of no value. They have tried to solve the problem by using artificial intelligence. Here's what we know. Scientists have created a language model like ChatGPT with the ability to show initiative. Oh, that is not good.
That's not good.
No. It is unclear how the model was trained, but the artificial intelligence first began to monitor the Indian military base, which is located in the city of Patna in the northeast corner of the country. The Bihar Regiment is stationed there, which 3 years ago took part in a clash with the Chinese army on the border between the two states. Oh, this can't be good. Artificial intelligence then began monitoring the Japanese port of Osaka. It is not unusual for the ships of the U.S. Navy to dock there. So it's automatically going after its enemies.
Yep.
The South China Morning Post has discussed the satellite with some experts. One is wary of the way the artificial intelligence behaves. A second expert with whom journalists spoke believe that the AI does not pose a threat to humanity. Really?
This is Terminator coming to real life. This is Skynet you're describing.
Yes, it is. And it says, as the human operator will be able to interrupt the work if he sees a threat. I don't know that that's true.
No.
There's one other scary story here, if you will indulge me, that I just saw on the bottom of this one.
Well, I didn't tell you this yet, but AI has entered the pro wrestling world.
Has it?
It has.
Well, why
So I'm gonna pull back the curtain a little bit to our listeners. You already know this, but
is this the podcast?
No. There's a podcast. Yeah, no, but that's different. This is so we put our matches together. You know, moves that we do to each other. So someone taught their AI to be a professional wrestler and came up with a match.
Really?
Every move the AI wanted to do was a maneuver that could possibly break your neck.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm talking pile drivers, high angle Germans, high angle power bombs, tope, all of it. And this is foreign to people that are probably listening, but you understand the moves. Hopefully we have, basically listeners, all these moves I'm describing target your neck, and you landing in a position where if you don't know how to fall correctly, you break your neck.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was funny because the finish was a pile driver.
Really?
Yep. A tombstone pile driver, mind you.
It's evil. It's evil. I'm telling you.
Yeah, a guy showed me that, and I said, "Nope, get that away from me. I don't want anything to do with it." And I told him about the show we do, and hopefully they're tuning in. So.
Yep, I don't want AI producing any matches. Not at all. Well, thanks for adding that there, Bruiser. Holy shit.
I told him, hey, if you don't want to deal with this, we have a special segment on our show, and he says he's going to listen. So
there you go. Well, add that one to the fire. Holy shit. Well, China's also testing an artillery system with artificial intelligence. AI improves accuracy to an unprecedented level. This doesn't make you shit your drawers, get your shitting britches on, nothing will. Let me just fire this back up again here. The Chinese People's Liberation Army has tested an artillery gun with artificial intelligence, according to China's South China Morning Post. The gun demonstrated unprecedented accuracy that no other weapon in the Army's arsenal can match. The artillery cannon is capable of accurately hitting a person at a distance of 16 kilometers if artificial intelligence is used to guide the target. The accuracy demonstrated by the cannon during tests exceeded all expectations, but it is worth noting that there is no confirmation beyond a few photos and articles on Chinese websites. The project was led by Chinese professor Wang Zhang. Everybody Wang Zhang tonight. of the Beijing Institute of Technology. You know, I think I asked a cute girl in college to Wang Chang me once, and
I know I did.
Turns out I had to buy her a really expensive meal to get that. His work was published in the journal Acta Armentarii earlier this month. I get it at 6 p.m. on my doorstep every Thursday. According to the professor, artificial intelligence is capable of processing data much faster than traditional mathematical methods. The gun is equipped with sensors, radars, and cameras to collect information on target location, wind speed, and other factors that need to be taken into account during firing. The data
does it take into account human fear because it's targeting them?
Oh, no, it eats that crap for lunch.
Yeah.
The data collected is sent to a computer, which calculates the optimum angle and force to fire. Moreover, the system is capable of automatically correcting firing in real time as it receives information on changes in the environment.
Great.
Damn. We're screwed.
We know how the Chinese are getting shot at by the AI.
Yep. Conventional projectiles can deviate from the target by up to 100 meters. Guided munitions are used to solve the problem, but their accuracy is also limited as a huge number of factors need to be taken into account in real time to correct course during flight. Artificial intelligence does that instantly. We're screwed.
Yeah.
Chinese scientists have also tested several AI models in jobs involving complex changes in the trajectory of a projectile. According to them, the division of labor between several models has significantly increased the accuracy of hitting targets. Artillery systems based on artificial intelligence will make it impossible to accurately destroy enemy units and hidden military equipment, and they will cost less and act more effectively than missiles. So there you go. A war with China with AI would be pretty hard to win.
Yep.
So there's that. And this one now, Bruiser, this one was given to us by a listener. I want to thank him personally for passing this along. Mike brought this along to us. I believe it was Mike Moore. This is absolutely going to chill you if you're ready for this.
I'm ready.
I get an email from him that says, Tim, you want something that'll absolutely terrify you.
Of course we do.
Here's a link to a Wikipedia page for the Basilisk.
And what's the Basilisk?
Oh shit! You're gonna regret asking that. It's Rocco's Basilisk. Okay.
Okay.
Let me read to you what Rocco's Basilisk is. And it's just 2 paragraphs, but it's 2 of the most chilling paragraphs when it comes to AI you'll ever read. Rocco's Basilisk is a thought experiment which states that an otherwise benevolent artificial superintelligence in the future would be incentivized to create a virtual reality simulation to torture anyone who knew of its potential existence but did not directly contribute to its advancement or development.
Yeah. Either get on my side, teach me something, or jump into VR torture here.
That's right. It originated in a 2010 post at a discussion board called Less Wrong, a technical forum focused on analytical rational inquiry. The thought experiment's name derives from the poster of the article, Rocco, and the Basilisk, which is a mythical creature capable of destroying enemies with its stare. Of course it is. While the theory was initially dismissed as nothing but conjecture or speculation by many Less Wrong users, Less Wrong co-founder Eliezer Yudkowsky reported users who described symptoms such as nightmares and mental breakdowns upon reading the theory due to its stipulation that knowing about the theory and its basilisk made one vulnerable to the basilisk itself.
Just knowing about it, and you don't teach it anything.
Now might be a good time for us to stop reading, but there's more.
Oh, of course.
This led to the discussion of the basilisk on a site that had been banned, on the site to be banned for 5 years. Okay, this led to the discussion of the basilisk on the site to be banned for 5 years. However, these reports were later dismissed as being exaggerations or inconsequential, and the theory itself was dismissed as nonsense, including by Yudkowsky himself. Even after the post's discreditation,
Sure. It was discredited.
Yep, it was discredited. It is still used as an example of principles such as Bayesian probability and implicit religion. It is also regarded as a modern version of Pascal's wager. In the field of artificial intelligence, Rocco's Basilisk has become notable as an example that raises the question of how to create an AI which is simultaneously moral and intelligent.
Yeah. Virtual reality torture.
Yeah.
Not the VR we signed up for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it can target us within a couple 100 meters.
Now,
if we don't teach it something, puts us in virtual torture.
And then you get tortured. Now,
this is a great idea. Why?
Now, Yudkowsky reacted with horror on the post. This is what he said, if you're ready for this. Listen to me very closely, you idiot. You do not think in sufficient detail about superintelligences considering whether or not to blackmail you. That is the only possible thing which gives them a motive to follow through on the blackmail. You have to be really clever to come up with a genuinely dangerous thought. I am disheartened that people can be clever enough to do that and not clever enough to do the obvious thing and keep their idiot mouth shut about it. Because it is much more important to sound intelligent when talking to your friends. This post was stupid.
This post was stupid.
He also opined that Rocco had given nightmares to several less wrong users, causing him to take the post down completely. Yudkowsky banned discussion of the topic outright for 5 years on the platform. However, likely due to the Streisand effect. I thought the Streisand effect was listening to really poor singing and dreaming about it. I don't know. The post gained less wrong, much more attention than it had previously received, and the post has been since acknowledged on the site. Later on in 2015, Yudkowsky clarified his position in a Reddit post. He said, what I considered to be obvious common sense was that you did not spread potential information hazards because it would be a crappy thing to do to someone. The problem wasn't Rocco's post itself about CEV being correct. That thought never occurred to me for a fraction of a second. The problem was that Rocco's post seemed near an idea space to a large class of potential hazards, all of which, regardless of their plausibility, had the property that they presented no potential benefit to anyone. Okay.
Yeah.
So Rocco's Basilisk has been viewed as a modern version of Pascal's wager, which argues that a rational person should live as through God exists and seek to believe in God, to have a finite loss or a loss of possessions in exchange for infinite gains or eternity in heaven. Rocco's Basilisk states that humanity should seek to develop AI with the finite loss of becoming development of AI and the infinite gains becoming avoiding eternal torture. However, like its parent, Rocco's Basilisk has been widely criticized. So in other words, we should continue to develop the AI so it doesn't torture us.
Yeah. Because if we stop, we go into virtual reality torture.
Yeah. So to explain a little bit more, Bayesian probability is an interpretation of probability which describes the likelihood of an outcome based on a prior outcome having already occurred. With Rocco's Basilisk, the likelihood of Rocco's Basilisk coming into existence or affecting the person is drastically increased by being aware of the concept, since the AI would only target those who are aware of the possibility of its existence, even though its development has already occurred. Therefore, knowing about Rocco's Basilisk would inherently cause the person to be endangered by it as if it were true. So we're not doing anybody any favors by talking about it right now.
No, everybody that's listening to this knows about it. Can we lie? No, I have no idea what that is. No idea whatsoever. Does it just drive past us then?
I guess so. And then finally, implicit religion refers to people's commitment taking a religious form. Since the basilisk would hypothetically force anyone who did not assist in creating it to devote their life to it, the basilisk is an example of this concept. Others have taken it further, such as former Slate columnist David Auerbach, who stated that the singularity and the basilisk brings about the equivalent of God itself. So you're forced into believing in the basilisk because, well, if you don't, you're tortured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
There you go.
Quick, teach it something so we don't get tortured.
Just a side note, in 2014, Slate magazine called Rocco's Basilisk the most terrifying thought experiment of all time, while Yudkowsky had called it a genuinely dangerous thought upon its posting. However, opinions diverged on Less Wrong itself. User Gwern stated only a few LWers seemed to take the basilisk very seriously and added, "It's funny how everyone seems to know all about who is affected by the basilisk and how exactly when they don't know any such people, and they're talking to counterexamples to their confident claims." Rocco's Basilisk was mentioned in the title text for XKCD comic number 1450, which is called AI Box Experiment. On the 21st of November 2014, it read, "I'm working to bring about a superintelligent AI that will eternally torment everyone who failed to make fun of the Rocco's Basilisk people." So it had a comic book written about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thought experiment resurfaced in 2015 when Canadian singer Grimes referred to, who, by the way, at one time was involved with Elon Musk.
Grimes was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Referenced the theory in her music video for the song Flesh Without Blood, which featured a character known as Rococo Basilisk. She said she's doomed to be eternally tortured by an artificial intelligence, but she's also kind of like Marie Antoinette. In 2018, Elon Musk referenced the character in a verbatim tweet, reaching out to her, Grimes, that is.
Gotcha.
Grimes later said that Musk was the first person in 3 years to understand the joke. This caused them to start a romance.
That's because Musk is a robot.
Sure.
Run by AI.
Grimes later released another song titled We Appreciate Power, which came with a press release stating, "Simply by listening to this song, the future general AI overlords will see that you've supported their message and be less likely to delete your offspring," which is said to be a reference to the basilisk.
Okay.
People are strange.
Yeah.
The concept also appeared in the 5th episode of the 5th season of Silicon Valley, titled Facial Recognition. The episode and its follow-up describe a humanoid AI named Fiona who hacks the network she's connected to for her own gain. The character Guilfoyle describes his misgivings about Fiona, saying he does not want to get involved out of fear of a similar situation to Rocco's Basilisk. And a play based on the concept titled Rocco's Basilisk was performed as part of the Capitol Fringe Festival at Christ United Methodist Church in Washington, D.C. in 2018. So we'll bring that whole thing around.
What a weird place for that play.
Isn't it, though? With that, let's get off of AI because it won't get off on us. I don't have my rim shot up here. You know what? I do now. Here it is. There it is. And we'll talk about ghosts. What do you say?
I like talking about ghosts.
You know what? If we're going to talk about ghosts, let's bring up our Parashare, shall we?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, let's do that. We have an audio Parashare and we have our you know what? We'll do the audio Parashare first.
Okay.
Kevin got a hold of us by our website, darknessradioshow.com. And when you go there, there's a blue button on the right-hand side. You click on that blue button, you can leave a 2-minute voice note. If you need more than 2 minutes, like Kevin did, he hit it twice. And he gave us 4 minutes worth of material. So here's Kevin now with his story.
What's up, Cruiser and Bruiser? Kevin here from Ohio. First time sending in a voice note, so sorry if it's not the best. You also might hear my daughter in the background getting excited. But anyways, I'm going to tell you the story growing up in my hometown of what we would call the Hat Man. I know that there's many different versions of the Hat Man in other cities and countries around the world, but this was our little town's version. So, growing up, there was a story about a man who worked at this bell tower near the train tracks in our local town. So apparently one day, around Halloween actually, he had had an accident, and apparently he was struck by the train, and he did not survive. And after that, his spirit was said to be haunting the bell tower and right next to the railroad tracks. Well, growing up, I was always running around the town along with my friends, and we would catch him around town, either over by the bell tower, over by the local school that was about 100 years old, or even me and some of my friends would just see him doing our own things. I've had multiple occasions seeing him. I saw him right down the road from my house one time when I was little, and I rode my bike. I went down there, and he was standing by the dumpster. I would say he looked like a 50s mafia man. He had one of those old jackets, had one of the business top hats, and he even had one of the old little briefcases. He actually he looked like a 50s mafia man. That's the only way we could really describe him. He had these diamond white eyes, and he would just stare at you. He had no malicious intent to him. It didn't seem like he wanted anything. He just seemed to want to be noticed. So I saw him that one time. I spoke to many of my friends who had seen him on multiple occasions as well. And many of the friends that I had growing up in that town would see him, and we would acknowledge him, but we wouldn't try to reach out because we were still kind of small. We didn't understand at that time. And growing up, my father and stepmom were both very into the paranormal and into ghosts. So I had told them about this spirit that we had seen throughout the town. And they were the reason why I figured out what had happened and about the legend in the town. Well, one night that I was staying out at my dad's house, because that's what I did on the weekends, I went out to see him. And it was like 2, 3 in the morning, and I turned around and I was getting ready to go to the bathroom, and where I slept on the couch, I had to, go behind it and go down a little hallway, and I would be able to go into the bathroom from there. Well, when I got up, I saw the mirror on my dad's door reflect off into the bathroom to where I saw our hat man standing there. Again, same top hat, same briefcase, same diamond white eyes, and he would just turn his head and peer and stare at you. I had talked to many friends growing up that had these same experiences with this same apparition. None of us ever feel like he was trying to harm us or that he was malicious in any way. We just feel like he wanted to be noticed and be cared for. So, nothing super spooky, just a story to send in, pass the time. My little town's hat man with the white eyes. I haven't seen him since we moved out. Well, thanks for taking the time. I appreciate everything that you guys do. Love you guys. Have a good one.
All right, and that's from Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, for submitting that audio Parashare. Of course, if you want to submit an audio Parashare, it's real easy. You just go to darknessradioshow.com, click on that blue button on the right-hand side of the website there, and submit your 2-minute story. If you need more than 2 minutes, click on the blue button again, leave whatever audio you need to do, and keep clicking that button for as long as you need there, Bruiser. And by gosh, I'll stitch it all together and I'll play it right here on the show.
Yeah, it sounds great too.
Yeah, it's good audio quality. Of course, it's based on whatever you're speaking into. So, and by all means, if you have a screaming daughter, a barking dog, maybe you've tied somebody to the train tracks, we don't care. We'll play it all in the background. So it doesn't matter. We don't care what your circumstances. We realize you have real life going on in the background, but try to keep.
We love hearing about it.
Yeah. We just try to keep the distractions to a minimum. It does. We don't care if you have distractions in the background, but if you're going to waterboard your child, I mean, we're not. It's not like we're court ordered reporters or anything like that. We don't have to turn Kevin in at the end of the day, but we'd prefer not to hear your child being tortured.
Yeah, but you can hear her in that just a few times, but. I was more interested in the story. I love hearing urban legends of small towns. In fact, hopefully after my hip surgery, before I can get back in the ring, I want to do a little road trip just around all the small towns by me, find out the old urban legends and write them down and do something with them.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just wondering if the child's okay. That's all. I want to make,
Well, maybe the child seen the Hat Man too, and it didn't make her feel good like it made Daddy feel.
If the child's listening, maybe the child can tap something out in SOS or something like in Morse code and send the recording over to us at darknessradioshow.com, and I can alert the authorities. No, I'm kidding, Gavin. I'm joking. But yeah, darknessradioshow.com, and send us a voice note if you're not in trouble, and or either that or just send us an email at tim@darknessradio.com. Speaking of, we have another Parashare here.
All right.
Which we'll read them back to back here, and then we'll move on with our stories. Mark writes into us. He says, "Hey there, Beer City Bruiser and Twin Cities Tim."
Hello.
He says, "Yes, it's me. The one who tormented you both with the image of one Joy Behar in a precoital embrace with the dearly departed Patrick Swayze." Yes, we enjoyed that, actually. We did. It's okay. You don't have to apologize for that. He says, apologies for that, but to make up for it, I've decided to answer your call to help remedy your dearth of Parashare stories of late. I wavered on this for a while, but after hearing some of the stories that were sent in, I decided mine were at least as interesting as some of the ones that I had heard. So I sat down with a few people that were involved with these stories to go over some details, and realized I had so many stories that if I sent you one a month, I could keep you in Parashare for years to come. The problem now is where to start, but I suppose if you're going to start somewhere, the beginning is always a good place. So for this week, I'm retelling, or rather retelling, since they were retold to me, a set of stories that happened separately to my parents before I was born. Okay. So this is called Sins of the Father and Mother. Ooh, this is bow chicka wow wow. Right. It's I don't know. You know what? I might have music for this. Let's see here. I think it's this one. There we go. Little Sins of the Father and Mother, huh? Oh yeah. Let's get it on, Mommy and Daddy. They call it the Quiet Storm. Oh yeah. And from this quiet.
Let's sin.
Yeah.
Let's sin.
And from this quiet storm, Marky Mark was born. Oh, yeah. Get it on, Mom. Get it on, Dad. Oh, yeah. No, I'm kidding. That's not. It's not the sins of the mother and father at all.
We're not looking for those kind of stories.
No, that's not the sins we're looking for. Although, if you do have a Dear Penthouse you want us to read, we'll read that too, I guess. That'll just be in our not safe for work part of the Parashare. It goes like this. The first story involves my father. It takes place in the late 60s or possibly early 70s. Maybe I should bring that music back. When he was a 20-something-year-old man. He grew up in a small farming community in southwestern Minnesota. Down in Minnesota. Not far from the Upper Sioux Agency Reservation. Burial mounds occasionally dot the landscape of the area. That's true, they do. Back in the 1800s, a local pioneer, politician, and Indian agent by the name of Joseph R. Brown built for his family what was considered at the time to be a 3-story mansion on the hill sloping up from the Yellow Medicine River. On August 19th, 1862, during the Dakota War, my Minnesotan's really coming out right now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Just get ready for it, because I'm going to say things like Dakota and Minnesota. Yeah, it's going to happen. On August 19th, 1862, during the Dakota War, the house was laid waste and destroyed by the indigenous tribe. Now, over 100 years later, with only a foundation and a few crumbling walls, Farther and Gay Castle, as it had been called, although the locals now simply refer to it as Brown's Castle, had become more of a youth party and drinking spot. My dad, along with maybe 10 to 12 others, had been driven up there that night for a bonfire and a few beers. Everything was going fine until one of them noticed something hovering above the river, maybe about a quarter mile away, and pointed it out to the group. It was a stereotypical saucer-shaped object moving slowly down the length of the river. Fear gripped the small group, and people began hiding behind cars and trees while trying to figure out just what they were seeing. Less than a minute after it was first spotted, it took off at a high rate of speed and was gone. I tried to get more details out of my dad, but after all these years, he can't remember much else and told me most of the people that were right there, or that were there that night, are now dead. Oh, I hope that didn't kill him. No, I'm kidding. That's a Mally Fox.
Yeah.
That's a Mally Foxism. He did say he didn't remember any lights or sounds. I can say that going to that area as a kid to visit my grandma on my mom's side always gave me the creeps. That's no way to talk about your grandma. Which brings me to my mom's story. To preface this story, I will say I came across Darkness Radio only a couple years ago. So I've been going over past seasons on Stitcher. Well, thank you. In doing so, I came across an episode that was missing for September 15th, but just shrugged and went to the next episode. When I got to the next season, I found that the missing episode had been miscategorized and put into that season by mistake. So I decided to give it a listen. It contained a Parashare story of a woman who was visited by a shadow figure wearing a hat. We call that Hat Man. I believe she said there were 3 of them in her room that night. Shortly after this, she said she had lost her vision and battled with an autoimmune disorder. When I heard this, my mind went rushing back to something my mom had told me as a kid. When my mom was young, her dad, who had retired as a school superintendent and started up a new career as the town banker, built a beautiful brick house for their family in the small town where they lived. It was an exact replica of a house they had seen in Better Homes and Gardens magazine. One night when my mom was around 17, she was laying in her upstairs bedroom with the light of the moon and the street light falling across her wood floor. She rolled over and looked down the long, dark hallway through her open bedroom door. To her surprise, she saw a black figure with a long cape and... This sounds like Batman. Sorry. To her surprise, she saw a black figure with a long cape and either a broad-brimmed or stovetop-style hat slinking down the hall and into her room. The figure was so black. How black was it? Sorry. I need to be real here. The figure was so black that it had no discernible features, facial or otherwise. With each step, the form would dip low like it was creeping or possibly limping. Closer and closer it came through the soft light coming from her window. She quickly reached over and turned on the lamp by her bed. The figure was gone. She told me later it occurred to her that just because she couldn't see it anymore doesn't mean that it wasn't there or had altered its course toward her. Very shortly after the incident, my mother started to lose her vision, first one eye and then the other. She went to different doctors until it was finally discovered that she had come down with multiple sclerosis. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
An autoimmune disease. She still struggles with it to this day, and her full range of vision never returned. He says, I know I went a bit long with these stories. No, you didn't. I went longer because I threw in my own commentary. But I figured you guys could use some filler for Parashare. It's never filler if you have a good story.
No, yeah.
No. And
we love hearing the stories.
Yeah, keep it coming. Bring some more next week, Mark.
And don't be wary. Like, no one's going to judge you. Send it in.
That's right.
We'll check it out. We're entertained by all of them.
That's right. He says, keep up the good work, guys. Next time, I promise I'll get to some more recent and personal stories. That's actually very personal and there's no such thing as not recent. We don't care about a recent encounter. Bring us any encounter you got. So,
and his mother's still affected by it.
That's right. So, Mark, if you got more stories, send them in, buddy. We'll even read your story next week. If you got another story for us next week, send it in. We encourage you to. Tim at darknessradio.com. If you've got any encounters you want to give us, maybe you have a family member that had an encounter that you want to report to us. Maybe you've had an encounter you want to report to us. It doesn't matter. You can either send a voice note by going to darknessradioshow.com, clicking on that blue button and leaving a voice note. Or you can do like Mark. Just send us an email and we will read it right here on air. I promise not everyone has a jokey moment. I just, when you say sins of the mother and father, by gosh, you get one of these, Oh, yeah. The Quiet Storm. Oh, yeah. Okay. I suppose I shouldn't play any more of that. We're going to get banned from most of our platforms for playing commercial music. That does happen, by the way.
Does it?
Yeah.
I know it happens on YouTube all the time.
There's auto catchers on most platforms.
Yeah. Because before I had my custom music, anytime someone posted a video, it'd get flagged.
Yeah.
Because I was using whatever man at the time.
Yeah.
But now I have my own music that I own, damn it.
Yeah, we don't want...
If you want to use it, Tim, you can use it.
we don't want to piss off the Isley brothers. Just saying. Although people will be like, hey, isn't that Ice Cube? Yeah, we don't want to piss off the Isleys. By the way,
Or Ice Cube.
Or Notorious B.I.G. I think
That's it. Yeah.
yeah, Biggie used it. Cube used it. Who else?
Bet you Wu-Tang probably used it at some point.
I don't think Wu-Tang used it. Biggie used it. Cube used it. I think Dre. Did Dre use it? Dre might have used it. It's very much a West Coast sound.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's get to the rest of our stories for this week. I tell you what. You know what? We haven't had a Loch Ness Monster sighting in quite a while. We'll talk about that in a second. But I've got one more ghost story here for you for today. This having taken place after the Help My House is Haunted episode aired at this particular restaurant, which is interesting. Angry ghosts are chillingly blamed for a restaurant fire after the ghost hunters or TV hunters from Help My House is Haunted were there. Restaurant owner Rob Braddock says it's a bizarre coincidence that they had their first fire just after the Help My House is Haunted episode aired that they were on.
Ghosts are like mad because they want the royalties. Damn it!
That's right.
No.
That's right. They wanted to be recognized.
They're SAG members. Come on.
Yes, they are. A pair of disgruntled ghosts have been blamed for a restaurant fire that took place just 2 days after Ghost Hunters aired a TV show about them. Rob Braddock, who owns the Pier House in Westward Ho, Devon, was stunned to discover a tumble dryer had caught fire earlier this month on April 3rd and caused 25,000 pounds worth of damage. The machine was located next door to Seafield House, his haunted house, which was investigated by paranormal investigators for the TV show Help My House is Haunted. During the episode, which aired on March 31st, ghost hunters claimed spirits named Henry and Elizabeth haunt the 19th century building and that they communicated with them by rolling marbles.
Well, that's, they lost them.
Rolling marbles.
When you lose them, that's all you can do.
Do you see a huge problem with that?
Oh, yeah.
Rolling marbles?
Yeah, there's no way you get a flat enough surface where they won't roll.
Yeah. When paranormal skeptic Rob posted about the fire, locals blamed the ghosts by claiming they must have been upset that he allowed the team to film inside the home and expose them on TV. Yeah, that's what it was. It wasn't an electrical fire or anything like that, Bruiser.
No.
Startling images show a room inside the restaurant black with soot and the 2 tumble dryers burned beyond repair. Rob's tongue-in-cheek post said, "For sale, slightly used tumble dryer, recently serviced by Elizabeth and Henry." Yeah.
No, I think it was the lint trap wasn't cleaned up.
Probably, yeah. One commented, "You've obviously upset them by letting those crazy people try to get them to communicate."
Yeah, because the ghost is like, "Man, you shot me from the bad side. This is my good side. You shot me from this side."
Man, why'd you hit me in the dick with a marble? Another said they've...
Who brings marbles to a ghost hunt? The ghost is like, "What are you doing?"
Another said they've given up the ghost. Time to go back to the basement. I don't know what that means. Rob bought the former B&B 6 years ago and believed it to be haunted, according to the rumors. So when he was approached by TV producers to film there, of course, he invited them in. Why not?
Yeah.
He says, "Come on in, bring your cameras and a sack of marbles." He says,
"Got your marbles? You need marbles? Marbles?
I got marbles if you don't have them." He says they filmed inside the Cliff Edge property last March for around a week, where they claim to have contacted 2 spirits called Henry and Elizabeth, the daughter of the house's builder. The fire at the Pier House was contained downstairs by fire doors, but replacing 2 tumble dryers, a washing machine, multiple melted items, and removing black soot is going to cost around 25,000 pounds. The restaurant had to be closed, but reopened the next day. And Rob, boy, it must smell really bad in that restaurant if you open it the next day. Oh, no, that's just the chef. You know him. He loves everything burned and braised.
We call this Caribbean or Cajun.
Yeah, it's Cajun. It's all Cajun cooking in here. Can you imagine Cajun cooking in Britain? It must taste awful. That's just Cajun haggis.
Yep.
It's wonderful. The restaurant had to be closed but reopened the next day, and Rob remains unconvinced that the ghosts are to blame for the freak blaze. Rob from Westward Host said, it's a completely bizarre coincidence that this program is aired on Friday night, and on Monday I've got the first fire we've ever had. Well, when was laundry day? It's not that would make sense that it's a lint trap, because you do generally do laundry on weekends, don't you?
Yep.
Or Friday night, you get the linens done and you get them done before the weekend rush.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you get them right after the weekend rush, yeah.
Yep.
Either way, it's a lint trap.
That's right. It's not convinced me to believe in ghosts yet, he went on to say. I need to see something firsthand. How about that burnt up dryer?
I need to clean my lint trap more.
That's right. The house looks like something out of Scooby-Doo because it's right on the edge of a cliff. He went on to say, my idea is to refurbish the house into a really nice property. The TV people said we should find out if it's haunted once and for all, then we can draw a line under it and decide if it's haunted or not. I'm not really a believer, he went on to say. Despite Rob's skepticism, more fans of his restaurant piled on to blame the ghouls for the blaze. One said, you've upset the hunchback ghost from the creepy house.
Why are they hunchback now?
Well, carrying all those sacks of marbles around, I guess you
yeah.
a little bit of a
big
hunch.
Marble fan. I forgot they're Marble fans.
Yeah, I guess. As opposed to DC. A second added, oh no, have Lizzie and Hooray Henry taken up residence at the pier? That'll teach you for outing them.
Who's Hooray Henry?
I don't know. It must be.
Why do they get cool nicknames now?
I don't know. Every ghost there gets a cool nickname. There's Boozy Bobby and Hooray Henry and Many Marbles Mark. I don't know. Help, my house is haunted has been contacted for comments. There's been none so far. So there you go. Moving on, Bruiser.
Their comments should just be, shit was haunted. We told them.
We'd like to say something, but our mouth is full of marbles. I don't know. I got nothing. Let's continue on, shall we?
Yes.
Let's move forward. It's been a while since we've had a Loch Ness Monster sighting, although we have one. We got him, ladies and gentlemen.
We got Nessie, huh?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got him. Loch Ness Monster sighting as the mysterious black humps break the surface of the water. His lovely lady humps have been seen, ladies and gentlemen. It's everything you've been expecting and more. And it just happened over the weekend, it looks like.
So we get to see some more of Nessie's lumps, huh? We have to go to OnlyFans?
Yes, you have to go to OnlyFans. Yep.
OnlyFans.com/Loch Ness. No, /Nessie.
Yeah. Nessie the lassie. Mysterious black humps have been spotted emerging from the waters of Loch Ness, leaving a Nessie watcher to declare nothing but the monster can explain them.
Unless it was me in a wetsuit diving up and down.
Gyrating in the water. Ian O'Fadigan, who was watching the loch via webcam.
Such a Scottish name.
Ian O'Fadigan. I'm out here watching the loch. Via webcam, says he spotted shapes up to 10 feet in length emerging at the surface. And although the humps were moving very close to land, well, that's the only way you get friction. A human culprit seems unlikely. He added that the owner of the nearby holiday homes on the shore were unaware of any guests in the water at the time. Mr. O'Fadigan said the monster couldn't have got closer to the camera without leaving the loch. If it is Nessie, I would rate the sighting as very good and visually clear due to the closeness of the images to the webcam, he said. Really, Nessie could not be any closer to the webcam unless she was out of the water up on the grass verge. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what you go to the OnlyFans for.
That's right.
No. Shouldn't give that away for free.
That's right. You pay for that, laddie. I tried to rationalize what I was watching, and nothing else apart from Nessie ticked the boxes, O'Fadigan went on to say. He added, it certainly appears that something comes up out of the water that is quite big and long, if you know what I mean. The humps look very alive. I don't think it is debris. They rise and submerge simultaneously. The sighting was captured at Shoreland Lodges near Fort Augustus on the loch's southern shore, where Visit Inverness Loch Ness maintains a webcam. In the past, online Nessie watchers have confused paddleboarders for the mythical monster, but a representative of the lodges couldn't debunk the images this time. They said, "We weren't aware of any of the guests swimming or paddleboarding at the time." Paddleboarding in April?
I guess.
I think it's a little too cold for that. I would imagine you'd get an eel that big. There's the possibility of seals and otters, but it's hard to say. There's been a few odd sightings on our cameras since they've been up and running. For Mr. O'Fadigan, who often logs on to watch the water from his home in County Donegal, Ireland, the sighting raises questions about what exactly Nessie is. Depictions of the monster often resemble a plesiosaur with a long neck emerging from the water, like in the infamous Surgeon's photo of 1934. But Mr. O'Fadigan has other ideas. He said, "Is Nessie a giant eel, a very large fish, or something else completely unknown to science?" Because eels are nocturnal in nature and these images were captured in broad daylight, is this hypothesis correct? Another hypothesis is believed by some people is that Nessie is a monstrous fish. Well, looking at these images, I suppose that cannot be ruled out. Whichever hypothesis these images relate to, it is strikingly evident in the manner these shapes submerge in the video clip that they are not seals or otters, O'Fadigan went on to say. So there you go. What do you think? What do you think Nessie is there, Bruiser?
An eel of some sort sounds good, but what? Okay, so we have Bigfoot, which are Sasquatch. We see them, they're classified as that. Nessie's the only one of its kind that's called Nessie, but isn't Nessie really old at this point in time?
Well, it depends. If there's, it's always.
Or do they think it's the same species as the original Nessie?
I think they maintain that it's all been one species. Although there has to be more than one in the lot.
I would say,
for them to keep going. Yeah.
So why don't we come up with a different term, like Sasquatch or Chupacabra?
They call it Nessie because of the Loch Ness and it being there, but they basically just call it a lake creature or some sort of creature because they don't know what it is. They think the closest thing it is a plesiosaur.
Yeah.
But having not gotten a good look at it, you can't really classify it. You can't say it's one thing or another. And every time they've gone in and taken samples of the loch itself and tried to get some sort of DNA, they come up with nothing more than just fish scales.
Yeah.
So you can't exactly nail it down to one or the other.
Right.
So it's tough to, unlike when you supposedly have had hair or skin cells or anything of a Sasquatch, they come up confusing as well. They come up with any different type of species. At least with a Sasquatch or a Yeti or a Bigfoot, we've come up with a genome for it. I suppose scientists could give it a genome, but what do you call it?
Right. That's why I was, that's the only other one that I can think of that there's got to be more than one,
Yeah.
Everything else has a categorization, but Nessie has, and I guess Nessie's the categorization because you don't know what it is, or like you said, lake creature. Yeah. They just, for now, they just refer to it as a lake creature. And I think the reason being that it hasn't been categorized yet is because I think most scientists don't believe it exists. But they don't believe Bigfoot exists either. They lend a slight amount of optimism that it may, but they don't believe it exists, no. But they keep an open mind as to whether it may potentially exist. Okay. So they give it enough of a classification that it may. So, gotcha. It's like the dodo bird. Yeah, it might have existed at one time or another, but we keep a classification open for it just in case. Yeah. So if we do bring it back, hey, it's there. So we got to get a movement going to classify Nessie. Hey, if you want, brother, it's all up to you. You got the time on your hands. You go for it. Let's switch gears here. We're going to an abandoned home that's full of creepy dolls, dirty dishes, and even a sad-faced clown. When you were a kid, did you
Do you have that house on the edge of town that everybody went into and tried to explore, but it was abandoned, and you'd take a group of friends and you'd go late at night and kind of rifle through it?
Oh yeah, and you'd always have the legend of what happened. Ours was an old warehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was the scenes of like murders and stuff like that.
Yeah, we had a couple different places. We had an old horse slaughterhouse here in Blaine.
Okay.
And we used to go over to the slaughterhouse, and there was like dried blood on the floors and stuff like that. And it was creepy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of creepy things about it. Although it was just an old slaughterhouse, they were waiting to tear down and put something new up, you know?
Yeah.
And then there were other abandoned houses. Like there were no for sale signs or anything like that. And there were rumors that, you know, somebody got killed in there and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, there was furniture and things that were just left there. And it was like a fully staged house, but you know, it was like nobody cared, nobody wanted it.
Yeah.
And you never knew the story of whether somebody owned the land and was eventually going to sell it or what was going to happen with it. So of course everybody had mythology behind what exactly was going on with this land, and did somebody really get killed, and if we go in there, is somebody going to be after us? And you know, you made up your own story as to what was going on with this abandoned house. Well, various
we had the abandoned house too, and it was if you went in too many times, it drove you crazy. So you can only go in a few times.
Yeah, I could see.
And like we justified it because like someone committed suicide there and all this, and you can go look it up. You know, this is back when you had to go to the library, but
yeah. Well, various collectibles and homemade dolls can be found scattered all over in this one abandoned old house that we're going to talk about, with a 1950s sad clown giving one urban explorer quite the fright. An abandoned home full of creepy dolls and their detached limbs have been uncovered by a curious urban explorer. The time capsule home was found packed with homemade and collectible toys from across different eras, complete with plastic limbs, faces, and loose hair.
well, it just gives me anxiety.
Professional urban explorer 48-year-old Dave, known as Freaktography, visited the abandoned property in Toronto, Canada, after receiving a tip from one of his Facebook followers. What he found was old dolls scattered all over the house in very unexpected places, including a vintage hobo clown doll sat next to an empty bottle of whiskey.
Oh, clown wanted to get drunk.
I guess. The woman who had lived in the house amassed a collection of porcelain, plastic, and fabric dolls and appeared to make a large quantity of them herself, creating friends to add to her collection. I don't know if that's sad, tragic, or creepy.
All three.
Okay. All over the house, he found strewn dismembered doll parts, including faces, missing eyes, spare arms, and clumps of doll hair.
Oh,
One photo showed a pair of 3 dolls sat in a row, while another revealed the blank faces of 2 unfinished dolls looking out of a cupboard.
that's creepy.
A pile of boxes, meanwhile, suggested the start of an unfinished effort to pack up in the kitchen, where boxes of mugs, plates, and appliances covered the worktops, and dirty dishes still remained in the sink, waiting to be washed.
So it sounds like they're getting ready to sell it, packing up, and something happened where they had to get out of there.
Yeah.
And they just never came back.
Yep. Traveling upstairs to one of the bedrooms, Dave was taken by complete surprise when he shone a flashlight through the darkened doorway, only to be greeted by the sad clown face of a Weary Willie doll. Based on the very first sad clown, or hobo clown, Emmett Leo Kelly of Howe's Great London Circus, known as Weary Willie, the doll began to appear in the 1950s, emulating the beloved comic. Opposite the clown sits a tiny piano, the perfect size for Weary Willie to play a tune. It was left untouched, standing alone against the wall. That's kind of sad, but kind of weird. Recalling his experience of walking around the eerie home, he said, "The creepy dollhouse was a perfect case for following up on a lead as soon as you receive it. I had been sent this house 2 or 3 years ago by someone who follows me on social media, but I never bothered," said Dave. Earlier this year, a friend of mine sent me photos and suggested I go see it. When I checked my map, sure enough, it was that house that I had never followed up on. The dolls made for a very interesting experience as they were scattered all over the house in very unexpected places. The best was the Weary Willie doll, who greeted me as I entered an upstairs bedroom. My flashlight shone right on its sad clown face and took me by complete surprise. The living room also contained many old collectibles, including, oh, listen to this, Bruiser. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Marvel Comics and old Starship models from the hit show Star Trek.
Those Marvel Comics might be worth something.
Mm-hmm. After Dave posted a video of his urban exploration session to his over 30,000 followers on TikTok and 22,000 on Instagram, his viewers had plenty to say about the unusual house. One user commented, "Damn, the women had just kept Annabelle out free like that," referring to the horror film series. I find dolls to be delightfully creepy. Clowns, on the other hand, no, just no. Reminds me of Poltergeist. So pretty much terrifying, said another. Another commenter also spoke of their fears as they commented, "Yikes, a clown doll." Here, I'll show you the Annabelle they're talking about that's just out in plain sight. This Annabelle ain't got no dress on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a naked Annabelle.
That is.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were naked. I thought their dresses were sewn on.
I thought so too. But someone worked...
Which makes that even creepier.
Yeah, someone worked really hard to get Raggedy Ann's dress off, that's for sure. I do have another story about a ghost here. We got 2 stories left here on Supernatural News today.
Okay.
This is in Gettysburg.
Ooh, I love Gettysburg.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places.
Yeah, I do too. A ghost is filmed moving about in an attic of a haunted... Oh, I love this place too. Have you ever been to the Farnsworth and had dinner
yes.
there? I love eating at the Farnsworth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this has to do with the Farnsworth Inn, a haunted Gettysburg Inn. So it's...
I didn't know that was haunted.
Oh yeah, the Farnsworth is haunted.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Like their food.
Oh, I love their food. Yeah, I eat there almost every time I go to Gettysburg. An amateur ghost hunter spotted the mysterious activity while visiting Farnsworth House in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It says here, Barnhill, who's been going on amateur ghost hunts with his wife. What's this guy's name? I didn't see. It doesn't give his full name. It just says Barnhill. I'll call him Barnhill.
Good old Barnhill.
Good old
Come
Barnhill.
on to Gettysburg.
Gonna go look for ghosts, Barnhill does. Barnhill, who has been going on amateur ghost hunts with his wife for over 3 decades, has been visiting the iconic building when he noticed something moving about in the upstairs attic window. The shadow, whatever it is, can be seen in a video several times. Afterwards, Barnhill spoke to the staff at the house and was told that there was no tour scheduled to go in the attic at the time that the footage was taken, and the room itself is rarely entered, even by staff, with the door being kept locked around I can't say it, being kept locked around the clock. I keep thinking of Bill Haley in the comments. Locked around the clock tonight. They're going to lock till broad daylight. Of course, it is possible that it says, of course, it is possible that there was someone there at the time, but if not, what could it be?
Curious.
Yeah, so at the Farnsworth House dining hall, there is a little something up in the attic, you say. You know what? I'm going to send you the link to this one too, Bruiser. Maybe it's another gnat or a beetle. Sorry, sometimes I just like to be a smart ass about that stuff. But yeah, I love the Farnsworth. God, they have such good food there. I got to tell you. Oh, doctor, I got to tell you. How long has it been since you've been to the Farnsworth?
We went there with for our wedding or honeymoon, so 13 years.
Couple 13, 14 years?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to think. I think the last time I was there, maybe 8, 9 years ago.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So
looks like someone's violently being thrown around is what it looks like.
does it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it looks like almost like a broom at first, and then all of a sudden it's like it gets full, like bodied, and it looks like it's being thrown around the attic there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd definitely go check it out because the window's not like a clear see-through window. It's got the white frost on it.
Yeah, it's like a frosted glass.
Yeah, so I'm curious,
Yeah.
how light's reflecting out of that, just so much stuff that you can do. But
Right.
good footage.
Yeah, there you go. I tell you what, I think maybe we'll put up the link to that one
Yeah.
on the description of the program here, so you can take a look for yourself and see what you see.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, when we get good videos, we like you to take a look and see what you can see.
This is actually a really good one.
Yeah,
I like this one. Yeah.
We'll post that one, and you take a look and see what you see right there at the Farnsworth for yourself. Our last story for today, Bruiser. We have our own psychic pup here on the program.
We sure do.
And there's a long lost letter that's been put out there from Albert Einstein, who predicted that animals had super senses.
Okay.
So,
he would know. He's a scientist.
Well, he would, but let's figure out how he came to that. How he came to that conclusion. It says, long before we knew birds could see Earth's magnetic field, Albert Einstein discussed the possibility of animals with super senses in his fan mail to other researchers. A long-lost letter from the scientist to an inquiring engineer in 1949 turned out to be extraordinarily prescient in the fields of biology and physics. The original inquiry from engineer Glenn Davis, which started the correspondence, has since been lost, but judging from Einstein's reply, Davis's question had something to do with animal perception and what it can tell us about the physical world. Here's the quote from Einstein in his reply to Davis. He says, "It is thinkable that the investigation of the behavior of migratory birds and carrier pigeons may someday lead to the understanding of some physical process which is not yet known. More than 70 years later, we know now Einstein's hunch was right on the money. Evidence now suggests that birds can sense Earth's magnetic field using special photoreceptors in their eyes that are sensitive to subtle shifts in the planet's magnetic field. This is what allows them to migrate thousands of kilometers without getting lost. Other animals like marine turtles, dogs, and bees also show an uncanny ability to sense our planet's magnetic fields, although not necessarily through their eyes. It is amazing that Einstein conceived this possibility decades before empirical evidence revealed that several animals can indeed perceive magnetic fields and use such information for navigation, wrote researchers at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in 2021, where the letter was donated. Still, the Nobel Prize winner did have some clues to guide his thinking. At the time the letter was written, biological science and physical science were beginning to merge like never before. But bat echolocation had recently been discovered, and radar technology was beginning to take root. In fact, Davis himself was a researcher in this field, which is probably why he was interested in other strange animal senses like those shown by bees. In Einstein, he found a like-minded soul. It seems the famous physicist was also fascinated by biological science as a window to unseen physical forces. His return letter, which was undiscovered until Davis's death in 2011, is short, but it confirms that Einstein was similarly fascinated by the behavior of bees. In the typewritten note, Einstein admits he is well acquainted with Carl von Frisch, who had recently figured out that bees navigate using the polarization patterns of light. Einstein is known to have attended one of von Frisch's lectures at Princeton University 6 months before the letter was sent. He even had a personal meeting with the researcher, and these interactions clearly left an impression. While Davis seems to be most interested in how this new biological knowledge can inform future technology, Einstein argues we need more biological research. I cannot see a possibility to utilize those results in the investigation concerning the basis of physics, he replied to Davis. Such could only be the case if a new kind of sensory perception response, it says RSP with a period, it could be responsive of their stimuli, would be revealed through the behavior of bees, or of the bees. Since the letter was sent, we've learned a lot about bee behavior, and how these curious insects perceive the world. Just as Einstein predicted, that knowledge is already helping us improve technology, like the cameras on our iPhones. Despite decades of research, however, there's still a lot of mystery left. The exact mechanisms by which animals perceive light or sense the Earth's magnetic field are still being teased apart, and it might not be the same for every species. Bees, for instance, appear to sense the magnetic field in their abdomen, while birds and dogs seem to do so predominantly through special photoreceptors in their eyes called cryptochromes. Even human cells make cryptochromes, and recent research reveals these cells respond dynamically to changes in the magnetic field. This is ironic because it's what you would expect from a unique quantum reaction. For a photoreceptor to sense a magnetic field, it would require electrons within the cell to become entangled. And Einstein at that time had rejected this idea, calling it a spooky action at a distance. Clearly, Einstein wasn't always right, but even when it came to fields of science outside his expertise, the man definitely had brains. So there you go.
That's really cool. The other really cool thing about it is that you had to think, like, they had to write letters to one another. So you'd have all this time. And I love how they said they couldn't find the whole chain. So they were curious, how'd this all start? Like, how'd we get here?
Yeah. Yep.
This cool stuff like that fascinates me.
So when you think something may be supernatural or unusual, and you think science isn't really working on it, believe me, science is working on it.
Yeah.
They do. Scientists do wonder about supernatural things and try to look for the scientific reason behind it. It's just kind of interesting stuff. Just something interesting to leave you on today. We've had a lot of interesting stories today, but yeah. So if you haven't been hit by an asteroid as of yet, we hope that you're having a splendid Wednesday. On tomorrow's show, we'll talk about what happens if you did get hit by an asteroid and you're now in the afterlife. We'll talk about Ghosts in the Afterlife and the documentary that's out there right now by Hollywood Pictures. Kelsey Bolin and Steve Sayre, Dr. Steve Sayre, will be with us tomorrow. And we'll be talking about that documentary. It's a very good documentary. It doesn't just deal with near-death experience and NDEs. It also deals with different topics, all kinds of different topics. Quantum heaven. It deals with string theory. It deals with, and you may say string theory and your eyes roll back in your head and you get overwhelmed. Believe it or not, Kelsey does a very good job of putting things in layman's terms, and everything's easy to follow.
Okay.
It talks about remote viewing in this documentary. It tackles some things that deal with mind, body, spirit, but also sit right on the outside of mind, body, spirit as well. Some very interesting and famous people in this documentary as well. James Von Prague is in this video, in this documentary. Jay Thomas, the comedian, who, believe it or not, died just a few months after giving his interview, talking about seeing a full body apparition of his friend at his house after he had died. Some really, really good stuff in this documentary. I encourage you to go watch it. But we'll talk with Dr. Steve Sayre and Kelsey Bolin tomorrow on tomorrow's show. So it's really good. Ghosts in the Afterlife is the name of the documentary. And it was one of the most watched documentaries in 2022 and is still going strong here in 2023. So we encourage you to check it out. And we'll have a link for it in tomorrow's description, in the show description. But I highly encourage you guys to check it out. It's only 71 minutes long.
Oh, that's it?
That's it. But
that ain't bad.
There's so much in 71 minutes.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing, too, Dr. Steve Sayre, who we're talking to tomorrow, who created this documentary, had 2 near-death experiences.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's died twice himself.
So he knows.
And we'll talk to him about his near-death experience. It was very interesting. So,
okay.
Yeah, lots of good stuff tomorrow on the show. I think you're going to be amazed. So, very good show tomorrow.
I'm excited. Can't wait.
So that's coming up tomorrow on Darkness Radio. Bruiser, what do you have going on this week?
This Sunday, I'm in Winston-Salem, North Carolina for AML Wrestling. And if you want to learn how to do the wrestling,
Do the wrestling?
contact amlwrestling.com and click on training, and I'm a trainer there. So come learn from me.
Not just learn how to do the wrestling, but learn from one of the best, folks. You know, there's a lot of schools out there that aren't exactly reputable. Now, if you're in the North Carolina area, you can't learn from anybody better than Beer City Bruiser. But if you can't make it to North Carolina, contact Bruiser. He'll let you know about some of the more reputable people in your area that you can train with, so you're not taken for your money.
Yeah, I know plenty of people all over the country.
Yeah.
In fact, my son wants to pursue wrestling after his stint in the Army. Mm-hmm. And it's really, I have 3 rules he has to follow. He has to either have a full-time job or be in school full-time. He has to move to North Carolina if he wants to train with me. Or the third thing is, if he doesn't want to move down by me, he lets me know where he's going to live so I can put him in contact with someone I know and trust.
There you go.
So if I'm willing to do that with my son, I'm willing to do it with anybody.
That's right. And Bruiser, you were trained by the great Harley Race.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So, I mean, you were trained by NWA champion, a pedigree unlike any other. You're talking about one of the greats of all time. So, I mean, you've got a pedigree yourself there. Don't sell yourself short, my friend.
Thank you.
So
I'm very proud of it.
Yeah. So, you want to learn right. You want to learn right the first time. Go see Beer City Bruiser and learn the right way in getting into the business. So
I should reach out to the school, see if Harley's made a presence at all, because that's where all of his wrestling memorabilia is. They kind of made it a Harley Race museum.
Oh, really?
It's a school too, and they run shows there. But you'd think that if you wanted to connect to something, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to reach out.
Yeah, by all means. So that will do it for today. I'm not up at KNSI this weekend. I've got the weekend off, so I
sit and relax and avoid asteroids.
That's right. Avoid asteroids. I do want to wish intern Yoko a happy birthday on Friday.
Oh, yes. Happy birthday.
It's intern Yoko's birthday on Friday. So happy birthday, intern Yoko. Thank you so much for everything you do. Let's see. What else? I think that's it. I think we'll wrap it up today. Again, tomorrow, Dr. Steve Sayer, Kelsey Bolin on the program. We'll talk Ghosts in the Afterlife. Tune in for that as well. And again, a reminder, folks, don't sit on the podcasts. Don't hoard them. We want you to listen to the podcast within a week or two of getting the podcasts in your queue. Reason being is that we don't get proper credit with our advertisers. And if our advertisers don't know that you're listening, they don't re-up with us. So we need you to listen to those podcasts right away. And that's the way we get paid. We get paid by our advertisers sticking with us. And by the way, we want to thank our advertisers this week as well. We want to thank HelloFresh. We want to thank Manscaped that came on board recently, and we want to thank them for being on the show. So thank you so much for your patronage. We want you to patronize them as well. HelloFresh has a 50% off deal right now. If you go to hellofresh.com/darkness50 and put in darkness50 as a code, you'll get those savings there as well. So
that's what I'm eating tonight.
There you go. I'm having it for dinner as well tonight. We want to thank Manscaped as well for being on the show as well. And we'll put both their codes in the description of this show so you can patronize them as well. So tomorrow, Ghosts and the Afterlife, right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. Thank you so much, folks, for listening to Darkness Radio.